Earlier today, I made a video talking about the differences between New Game Plus and New Gaming. And during that video, the end of it, I kind of talked a little bit about some of the fixes and changes that I want to see. And one of the biggest things was the fact of PC's performance has not been addressed at all. Now, this morning, Spiders Games went ahead and finally released some information, if you will, about the PC's performance, and I have to say it's a bit disheartening because I feel like they're just not necessarily listening and they're throwing blame off on the players, the PC players themselves. So I want to go ahead and get right into the notes that they sent us and then talk a bit about my own opinions of what this is happening. I'm sure there are a lot of you guys who are pretty upset about what they just released, and it's kind of crazy because I don't think that I would have released it in that way, and it's kind of weird to see that that's how they released it. So let's just get right into what they said. So starting off, they titled it as Steelrising PC FAQ. Since the release of the game, we have gathered most frequent feedbacks and analyzed them to help resolve your issues and answer your questions with Steelrising. Although we hope FAQ can help you experience the game to its fullest, you can still report any other issues. So if you have any issues, please go ahead and report those issues. Probably the best way to do it is by joining the Discord server, which I will link in the description below. Here are some of our most frequently asked questions for Steelrising. 1. Steelrising crashes when I try and launch it. They then says, update your Windows and your GPU drivers. They then said, the game stutters and its FPS is not stable, which is something that many of us have talked about and complained about. Ensure that the VRAM amount that you are using is safe for your own GPU, and that your GPU will experience negative impacts if you're trying to play more, or if your options are selecting more video memory than what you actually have. They then said that there's a large gap between ultra and high texture quality, so change that. Number 3, I cannot run the game in native 4K resolution. If your GPU can't run it that high, lower it is what they said. And if you can't do that, use more upscalers, which is basically the resolution of the game, and you'll get better frame rate and performance, supposedly. Number 4, even with the upscalers, I have trouble reaching a decent frame rate. So even after doing all the rest that you said, and we're up to number 4, I have a hard time. Their response: lower your resolution, lower the quality, change it to performance. Number 5, it takes forever to load a level in a game. You put the game on your SSD instead of your hard drive. I can't save the game and have to start over every time I launch the game. Utilize Windows Defender is what they then said, and they give you a link to be able to utilize it and download it and understand it. Number 7, my save always brings me back to the credits. How can I play New Game Plus or DLC content? They then said that pretty much something that I talked about earlier in the video today is that once you finish the game will automatically transition into a New Game Plus. So you have to click New Game in order to continue playing the game. You cannot go back into that original game that you were already playing. They then did say that once the DLC releases, they'll be able to allow us to stay and maintain that game, which is good news from all of this. And last but not least, what achievements does the assist mode prevent me from obtaining? And they gave a list of achievements that you cannot attain within assist mode. And then they also talked about the added outfits in New Game Plus and DLC will not be accounted for the Fashion Victim achievement. If you're going for that, you do not need to have the New Game Plus or DLC outfits. Now, that is a quick rundown, and here is what I want to give my opinions on this. I am enjoying this game. Despite all of the things that I think are, need to be communicated and fixed, and there's not a long list. There's not a long list at all. The biggest things were PC performance, probably some of the input, reading, and the enemy hitboxes, my hitbox. Like it's little things, but the biggest things was like PC performance. And I've talked about how I feel like we've got no update, no information, and that I know they have to see it because I see it. I go through the Reddits, I go through the Twitters, I go through Steam, I go through it all. I see it. And I mean, I'm gathering the information from you guys for a video for tomorrow of a love letter to them saying, hey, these are what we want. This is what we would like communication on. Please fix these things. We enjoy the game. We want you to succeed well. And then they go and release something like this, which is difficult to go through and read because it feels like, hey, it's your fault. Change your settings, change your graphics, that your PC's performance, that the game's performance isn't doing what you want it to do. And lower what system, what PC is this made for then? If people with 3090s and 30 down to 3060s that can run amazing visuals, graphics, I can run eldenring and Warzone at the same time and still have better game performance and PC performance overall. But that's why I'm trying to figure out, why is this my fault? Now, to go through this, before we talked about some of the reviews or some of the responses, before we go through this, I want to talk about what I have done, because I've told you guys many times before, my PC performance is trash, right? My VRAM has been set to the most optimized that I can have it. To add from there, I cannot run it in native 4K. I don't even try it and run it in 4K. Don't even try. I don't even try to have the highest. I just want it to run while I stream and while I record, and that's it. Even with the upscalers, I have been using the NVIDIA upscalers. If it takes forever to load into a video game, it takes me almost 2 minutes to load into the game. Now, what was the response to that one? Like to put the game on your external hard drive, or your SSD, or your SDD, right? Which I have my game, I installed my game on my hard drive, on my external hard drive already. That was already there. So if my load times are about 2 minutes, I'd be terrified to see what it was like if it's on my actual hard drive. And just from there, then I've already talked about the game saving and all that stuff. Guys, this was very disappointing. And the guys over at Steelrising, I feel like this shouldn't have come out in this way, especially to make it seem like it's our fault for wanting to run the game at a quality level. It's not our fault for wanting to run at a quality level, especially when you, and let's just get into what the responses were. First person, fix the blacksmith achievement please. Easy. Next, fix your game or give refunds regardless of playtime. This is not the first time. I have heard a lot that Spiders Games has not necessarily fixed the games that they've put out. Listen to feedback in this kind of same way. To go on, someone then said, wow, so you basically say there's nothing to fix performance-wise, which I don't understand how that's what there cannot be all these thousands of PC players who have these same issues in varying degrees, and it's not the performance-wise of the game. It's not just a VRAM issue. If the FPS were doubled, then I would feel kind of okay. But it's not just that. There are certain elements like God rays and fog that tank FPS. It also depends on time of day, at night, which then all different types of things when it comes to the optimization and how it changes throughout the game, throughout the times, which is crazy shit. They then go on to say, get rid of, or compared to other games, to what you would expect because you know how other games perform. This game just demands too much GPU power. Get rid of GPU low spikes and improve general performance. Why can't you just acknowledge the issues and tell the community that you're sorry and working on a solution? Instead, you leave people disappointed and angry. I don't get it. This is completely tone deaf. It feels tone deaf. I mean, I enjoy playing the game, and I'm going to continue playing the game. I definitely want them to listen, and I want to give them feedback. It's just, then this comes out, and it's like, guys, this was a fail. This was an L. This is not necessarily what we want to hear. If anything, I'd rather have just not heard anything, and then eventually you probably just make it perform a little bit better. Spiders, this was not a good move on your part. I would like to hear much better news, or that you're at least attempting to work on the performance. That's all. I don't think we all need an apology. I just think it's some kind of acknowledgement that it's something that you're going to work on, because it seems like this now is going to be an issue that is going to reoccur over time, and I want to play this game for the longevity of it, especially because you do have such large plans for DLC, it seems like, because it does not seem like this is the end DLC. You still are talking about DLC coming up, and I need for you to understand, for longevity, you're gonna have to do more than explain that it's just we need to change our settings. If this was only a quick solution, that's very different. That's very different. Explain quick solution FAQs until we release or until we figure this out or something. Work with us. I want to definitely work with you. I want the community to work with you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to also not, go too harsh on spiders. Obviously, like, we want this game to succeed. And if you guys have already returned it, I do understand that as well. But we want this game to succeed. We want the franchise to succeed. I mean, I love indie developers. I think they make great games and they have great heart and passion. So I know that the guys and gals over at Spiders Games and all the other development studios that helped out are looking forward to our feedback. I just want them to listen and not push blame. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to me kind of rant about the game. I still am excited about this. I just need them to change up their ways. But go ahead and give this video a like. If you guys have any kind of feedback, you guys can put the feedback down below in the comments. I would love to hear all your feedback and put them in my video tomorrow about that love letter to spiders. In addition to that, you guys can also submit your Steelrising clips, the funny ones, the crazy ones, the wild ones, the awesome ones to me, also in a link down below, so that way I can showcase it to the world and get you guys some visibility on those crazy funny clips. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're already not subscribed. But most importantly, check out my video where I do give a review and talk about all the new and changing differences between New Game Plus and New Game. And you guys can have a beautiful goddamn day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.